Hello, music fans. You're watching Death by Unicorn, where we talk about metal, rock, and prog music. And this is New Music's Alive in 2025. I'm going to talk about 7 albums that came out recently and give my quick first impressions of them. And I'll talk about them in my order of preference, starting with Grace Hayhurst and her album The World is Dying. This is maybe the debut. Yeah, I think it's the debut full length album by this artist from the UK. It's progressive sludge metal with electronic influences. I'm putting this one in my excellent tier. Before I heard this full album, I heard the early single, which was the title track. It has a really interesting blend between soft and heavy, accessible and progressive. So I put it on my list to listen to. That's a great track, and really every track on the album is great. I'm not 100% sold on all the vocal performances and effects on Grace's voice here, as some of that vocal production is just not to my taste, but everything else on the album is well composed, well performed, and produced, and the vocals are actually growing on me. It sounds a bit like if Chelsea Wolfe collaborated with Mastodon, but added more keyboards. Mostly clean vocals here, but there were a couple moments of harsh vocals to bring the intensity. And Revolution is an amazing mini epic track that's almost 13 minutes long. Kind of short for a prog epic, but long compared to a normal song. And that one's also an awesome standout track. If that sounds good to you, check out The World is Dying by Grace Hayhurst. Next up, I want to talk about an EP by Arch Echo. This is called 3x3 Catalyst. I think they're going to be releasing 3 EPs in succession that all have 3 songs, and this is a great American instrumental prog metal band with jazz fusion influences. I'm putting this in my very good tier. They have amazing virtuosic instrumental music here, where the keyboards in particular are impressive. So definitely check this out if you like the keyboard shredding of people like Jordan Rudess. I think you'll like this. But there's also guitar shredding, of course, so with some jazz influences. So if you like intervals, that should be good for you. And if that sounds good, check out Arch Echo 3x3 Catalyst. Next up, I'm going to talk about Presto Ballet and their album Dreamentia, which is the 6th album by this American band. It's progressive rock. I'm putting this in my very good tier as well. And this band was founded by the Metal Church guitarist Kurt Vanderhoof. The guitars remind me of Thrash. They really sound like Alex Lifeson kind of style guitars, and the vocals remind me of Styx. Keyboards are like a mix of Rush, Yes, and even some more modern acts like Steven Wilson. Check it out if you're a fan of Rush, Yes, Kansas, and you want to hear a more modern rendition of that sound. That's Presto Ballet with Dreamentia. Next up is another EP by Nosound, and it's called To the Core. This is an Italian band, and it's progressive art rock with alternative, post-rock, electronic, ambient influences in there. I'm putting this in my very good tier as well. This is very soft, emotional, atmospheric music. It takes you on a progressive journey, maybe for fans of like Anathema, that kind of stuff, but also kind of electronic, ambient, maybe a little bit of like Radiohead kind of vibes. Not sure exactly who to compare them to. It's also very emotional and sad sounding. Next up is Jakko M. Jakszyk and his album Son of Glen, which is the 7th album by this artist from the UK. And this is progressive art rock, also in my very good tier. And this is the 7th solo album by this English musician. He is best known as the lead singer and second guitarist of King Crimson from 2013 to 2021. And this is the 7th album under the name Jakko M. Jakszyk, but he also had a couple earlier solo albums just under the name Jakko. So maybe it's his 9th solo album, and I'm not sure how to count, but it's too bad that he never made a studio album with King Crimson. That would have been great to hear. But I've never listened to any of his solo albums before. But I listened to Son of Glen, the title track, ahead of time, and it's a great track. I was looking forward to hearing the whole album. And it's a great album too, so check it out if you like the recent album by Nad Sylvan. I think it's kind of similar to that. It's like a sadder, softer version of that. It's kind of like well executed and performed music, solid vocals and guitar playing. Just nothing too innovative or unique or that memorable, to be honest. But this guy, you can tell he's a very talented guy. Everything's very polished and very well executed. I just wish maybe he took a few more risks on this one and had a bit more fun. But if you want something solid, progressive, great songwriting, composition, great playing, and kind of somber, sadder songwriting, then check out Son of Glen by Jakko and Jakszyk. Two more to go in this video. Second last one here is by the band Sodom, and it's called The Arsonist. This is the 17th album by this German thrash metal band. And I haven't been covering much thrash metal lately on my channel, but I figured I'd check this one out because some of the stuff I've heard from Sodom before has been pretty cool. I'm putting this in my very good tier. They have been playing intense thrash metal since the 80s. And I don't really know their catalog that well, but I've liked some of what I've heard, so that's what made me check this out. This is just solid, fast thrash metal. They have harsh vocals. They even have some moments that remind me of like hardcore punk and crossover thrash. If that sounds good to you, check out The Arsonist by Sodom. It's not going to blow your mind, but it's just really well executed thrash metal. And yeah, like it's very solid and consistent the whole way through. There's not a lot of surprises or innovation, but it's just really, really well done. Great job, Sodom, with The Arsonist. And last, I want to talk about the band Pigpen and their debut album called Mental Madness. They're a Canadian hardcore punk band. They've got some thrash metal and metalcore influences too. I'm just putting this one in my good tier. Sodom was still in my very good tier, so this is the one in my good tier this week. Hardcore punk isn't a genre I listen to that often either, but when I saw the lineup for this band, I knew I needed to check this out. This features Maddie Matheson on vocals, Daniel Romano on guitar from Attack in Black, which is a band I really love. Daniel Romano also has a really extensive solo career that I find impressive, so he's really the one that I was interested in hearing on this. But there's also Ian Romano on drums. He's the brother of Daniel Romano. Tommy Major on bass, and Wade McNeil, who is one of the guitarists and vocalists of the post-hardcore band Alexis on Fire, is in here. So that's a pretty cool big name band there. At least they're pretty big in Canada, well-known Canadian post-hardcore band Alexis on Fire. And this doesn't really sound too much like Alexis on Fire or anything that Daniel Romano's done before. It actually kind of sounds like Cancer Bats a little bit. If you're a fan of that, if you're a fan of Cancer Bats, check it out. It's not quite as good as Cancer Bats though. This is still good music, but I feel like it's just these guys having some fun together. Not their best work. They're not innovating. They probably wrote this album in one weekend together, if I had to guess. They are all great performers, so it sounds good. And, you know, they're experienced musicians. They know how to produce a hardcore punk album, apparently. Even though it doesn't seem like that's the main genre of all the members of this band. Like, some of them are more, like, specialized in other genres, I think. But they did a great job on this hardcore punk album. They're all great performers. So, sounds good. But sounds like something they didn't put as much effort and time into the composition and songwriting as other past projects from these members. So it seems like, I don't know if this is going to be a full-fledged band going forward and they're going to keep doing this, or this is kind of like a one-off side project for these guys. I'm curious to hear what they do next, but for now I'm just putting in my good tier. Still like above average. I tend to like turn music off if I find it too boring and average. So I don't really talk about very many boring, average, or below average, or bad albums on my channel, but just good. I usually spotlight stuff that's more like very good, excellent, or near masterpiece or masterpiece level. But I wanted to mention this one in case there's some hardcore punk fans out there. Check out Mental Madness by Pigpen. And that's it for my first impressions on these 7 albums that came out recently. Have you listened to any of these? Let me know down in the comments what you thought of them. And did anything else come out recently that you think I might enjoy? Also let me know. And if you like metal, rock, and prog music, you've come to the right place. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you want to stay in the loop on when I post other videos. And in about a week's time, I'll be talking about new releases coming out from We Lost the Sea, Dropkick Murphys, and Syncopia. I'll also, probably even before that, I'll be posting my top 10 albums of June, since I like to post my top 10 albums at the end of every month, top 10 of that month. And I still probably should put up a July album release radar video just talking about all the albums that I plan to listen to in July. And another one that I want to put up is a mid-year roundup of what are my favorite albums of the year so far, now that we're kind of at the halfway point. I've seen a lot of other metal and prog YouTubers putting that kind of content up, and I enjoy it, so I figure, hey, maybe I'll put up my own and somebody might enjoy it. So if you want to see all that, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and stay in the loop, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.